Okay, so I've done a lot since the last video, and that actually didn't take that long. So the only things I really did beyond when I got the timing belt on was the cover itself. I'll just kind of lean over to show you. Sorry, I'm holding the tripod. I sit down. The cover, but also you can see I got the new harmonic balancer on. Now this is actually not torqued down yet, but I'm going to be working on that next, and I'm going to kind of explain to you how my what my plan of action is to try to get that thing on. But overall, from what I did is put a lot of connectors back on. I actually, excuse me, lowered the other harness on from the top. You can see it's not there anymore, thankfully, and laid it down. Put all the connectors. I mean, these labelings. This one actually goes to intake manifold, or the intake tube, so that's why they still here labeled on. And then the other one's for the distributors. But everything else is hooked back up. That labeling, which took, I'd say a good couple hours to do, was, and I really didn't understand it when I did it at the time, but it is incredibly time saving. Like, I knew exactly where stuff went. I mean, I could have just laid it down and took a guess, but now I know, oh, okay, 1 to 1, 2 to 2, 3 to 3. And taking that time to do that was so invaluable to making this a kind of quick, I'd say quick rebuild in regards to trying to find plugs or whatnot. It's so invaluable. So I highly encourage any of you guys, if you are interested in doing this, to take the time to label, to bag, to really write down specifics when you're disassembling, because it makes it so much easier to reinstall. Don't just put all your bolts in some kind of jar or something and try to guess what goes where. Count the number you have, put them in a bag, write on the bag what it is, how many they are, what it goes to, and your life will you will completely understand why I took the time to do that. But overall, I mean, I've laid the harness down, I put the cover on, I've kind of lightly got the harmonic balancer on. I'm like raring to go. I think I can probably get this done tonight, honestly. The next things I need to do, okay, a couple big things I gotta talk about real quick. Obviously get the airbox and the piping in. Got to get the distributor on. That's a good big next thing. Got to get the harmonic balancer torqued on. I'll tell you guys my plan of attack about that in a second. But also the knock sensor is still there. I've got to figure out where I want to mount that, because I've seen some people do different things. Radiator, obviously, oil filter. That takes minutes here early, and yeah, just really that's it. So there's one major thing that is kind of holding me back. That is when I bought the car, the guy I bought the car from, I actually asked him, I was like, hey man, I noticed that there's an aftermarket alarm system thing, because there's a 3.5mm headphone type jack underneath the near the fuse panel on the driver's side. And he was like, what are you talking about? I was like, oh, you didn't notice this? And he was like, no, I didn't notice that. So he's, I think, the second owner, and I believe the original owner put an alarm system in, and there was no key fob that came with it or anything. I just got the key, and what my guess is that okay, well, so let me backtrack a little bit more. So after I talked to my friend about that, I was like, oh, okay, I wonder if it's just nothing, maybe it's just a mistake or something. So actually, I charged the battery, and I put the battery in, and I tried to turn the key on just to kind of check out the accessories and stuff, and an alarm went off. And not necessarily an alarm with like a siren, but it was connected directly to the horn, as well as to the lights, the corner lights and all that jazz, and it was flashing. I'm like, oh my god, what the hell's going on? I have no way of stopping this thing. So that's something I actually went down like last night or a couple nights ago and took a look for, and I actually found it. It's an old silencer alarm. silencer is a company. It's like a, I don't know, I was looking on some forums and Googling some stuff about it, and it looks like it's a very, very cheap, you know, alarm. I don't know if it's a dealer install or something like that, but that actually might hamper me, because here's my plan of action. I have the alarm still there. I pulled it out mostly. I didn't actually disconnect it. I did disconnect a couple wires, but I can put those back together. What I'm gonna do is, once I get everything back together, oil on, coolant, all that jazz, good to go. What I'm gonna try to do is, I'm gonna leave the alarm in and try to start the car. We'll see what happens then. If it starts, or if the alarm goes off, it goes off. I mean, that's what happens. My guess is that then the factory settings of those got reset, and I have to kind of work back from that. But my friend who helped me with the heads, he actually has a guy who installs alarms and stuff, and he was like, what you should do is disconnect the thing completely, and if you still can't start the car, it's probably got an ignition cut off. I'm like, oh great. So if that's the case, then I'm gonna have to rip apart the dash and get that entire thing taken off the car. That's what I don't want to do. Like a big thing I do not want to do. Do not want to mess with the airbag. Do not mess with anything like that. I just want to get this damn thing fixed and started. Let's hope that I can keep the crappy alarm still in there. You know, it might go off. Hopefully it won't immobilize the car. You know, you have a cutoff, an ignition cutoff or something like that. But I'm hoping that I'll be able to just at least get the thing idling started and checked out tonight. And then what my plan is that my friend, again, who has the heads, he has like another guy the guy who does alarms and stuff like that. I'm gonna have him install an alarm on this car, but he'll actually have them to remove the other one too as well. So hope for the best, you know, that I won't have to do something like that. But I think this is probably the best course of action for what I'm at right now. But anyway, next thing that I'm actually going to be doing is installing the harmonic balancer. This thing requires, and I looked on my charts that had, you know, you saw the big board of charts that I had about torque settings and torque values and stuff. It takes 140 to 158 foot-pounds of torque that need to be applied to this bolt. It's a crankshaft bolt. It is the biggest one on the car, next to maybe, I think it's even bigger than like suspension bolts or even frame bolts itself. This is the biggest one. So I can understand why it requires so much force to be applied to it. It's just, I want to make sure I do it correctly. Number one, I don't want to mar the harmonic balancer because I will throw off the balance of the engine. But I also want to make sure that I get the exact torque value, because if it's not on there, the right torque value, it's not gonna, you know, it's not gonna seat right, and I don't want that bolt like shaking itself free. That would be really, really bad. And then the harmonic balancer falling off, and the belts all falling off, and whoops, you know, you got a major catastrophe on your hands. So it's gonna be quite interesting. I've read places where people do it. I don't know. I don't want to be super rough because I already fucked up one of these things. But my plan is actually, I don't know. I read this somewhere and it actually seemed pretty good. It's using a strap. It's like a ratcheting strap, but just has a hook on the end. And wrapping it around the harmonic balancer. I'll take a quick peek of it on the car, but wrapping it around so it doesn't it doesn't rotate when I try to torque it down. But wrapping it around and then just trying to torque it as much as I can without hopefully things spinning. This hooked end, I'll actually attach it to like the frame so it can't move, but I'm gonna wrap it around like 3 or 4 times around the crankshaft, or I'm sorry, the pulley, so that it can't move. That's gonna be the big thing, is making sure that doesn't move so I can get the correct torque on it. So I'm gonna try it out. I'll let you guys know how it goes. Hope for the best, right? But I'll try it out. Hopefully I don't ruin this thing. Alright.